Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you talk about how time is an illusion in this work?
How time is related to this work?
How it's an illusion or mirage?
Well, there are two answers to that. Time is an illusion if you, inside yourself, transform it into an illusion. Time is a very real instrument that we're all given the gift of time to live here, to make choices about how we want to live. And in that gift of time, we have the opportunity to develop a spiritual life, a connection with God. If people don't use time that way, then they're living in Maya, they're living in illusion. Because, time, we're allotted 50 years, 70 years, 100 years, 20 years, 10 years. And having that time, there is the opportunity to develop profound connection for the soul with higher energy in the universe. So whether or not time is an illusion depends totally upon how we use it, how conscious we are of how sacred time is, and how each moment is a treasure. Then time is no longer an illusion. It really is an opportunity to develop a chakra system that will connect you with God. It's an opportunity to, learn how to transform all of the suffering and difficulties that exist within time into love, into an open heart. So whether or not time is illusion is totally dependent upon how elevated our consciousness is. It comes back to us, each and every one of us. And I must admit, in the life of most people, time is an illusion. Scares the hell out of people. Want me to get old and die one day, Scares the hell out of people. But if you connect to infinite energy, then you eliminate time because you are connected to what's timeless in the universe. I mean, I know this is a very difficult thing to understand because truthfully, we're not supposed to understand it. It gets back again to we have to do it. It becomes a means of living. When your heart's open, when there's love inside a human being, when we're connected to infinite energy, then a minute can be a year and a year a minute. And I like that, you know, because it gets back to each individual human being and whether or not they take real responsibility to use time in a conscious way, or time uses them, and usually in a very unconscious way. Does anyone else have a question? I hope that's clear. I know this is not easy to understand. Well, I think it's not easy to understand because it's not supposed to be understood. We're supposed to live it and not, intellectualize it and rationalize it and figure it out. And it takes a highly evolved human being who can live it, live in the moment. If you're living in the moment, in the present, then you have mastered time. It's so funny, somebody sent me a podcast of a guy did of Rumi's poems. And I'm telling you, everything in there is exactly what I talk about. He must have been a relative of mine, this guy, because everything I talk about is in those poems, including this thing about time. And look, I have never read him in some deep study. Yeah, I used to read Rumi years ago. But Rumi never affected me the way Rudy affected me. When I was listening to those poems, I said, holy God, everything I talk about, this guy must have been an incredibly high being, Rumi. Not saying that I'm such a high being, but it's amazing. His understanding of life was very similar to the things I talk about. Does anyone else have a question? I would like to.
I have a question. This is Paul. Um, the basis for our practice has to do with focus, and I think it's just about just focusing. And I don't think there's more to it than that. However, I find it really challenging to be able to focus, and maybe you could just talk about it a little bit.
Look, yes, again, it depends upon what you focus on.
Well, on the practice on the third
Well,
chakra.
the practice, yes, once your mind drifts from the hara, from the core of your being inside, and listen, once it drifts from there, uh, you begin to lose all sense of balance, real balance. So the focus has to be in the chakra below the navel because the mind is this amazing instrument we are given. And we use it as a rational tool all the time in life. Instead of using it as an energy force that you can focus in the navel chakra, it will open the very core of your being. It will build roots inside you, foundation inside you. And once it drifts from there, the whole system of a human being just kind of flounders through life. So yes, and a lot of it has, a great deal of it has to do with learning how to focus. Most people have no idea how to focus. It is something over time that you have to learn how to do. Discipline. When I first sat down to do Rudy's meditation outside of Rudy's class, I couldn't sit there for 5 minutes. My head was in such chaos. But through practice, through the development of a chakra system, through learning how to use that amazing tool that's called mind as energy, becomes like a surgical tool we can use to open the core of our being. And it took time for me to develop a system that was capable of doing that. So you have to train yourself, part of what this meditation class is about, not part, a big part of what is getting training. I mean, you play the piano, Paul, you got to learn how to do it, the craft. If you don't learn the craft, you can't play the piano. And meditation is a craft, and it has tools, mind, breath. We need to learn to master them through learning how to focus, through discipline, through the development of a system inside that taps a need to have a spiritual life that is so strong that we will begin to focus on whatever makes it possible to happen. It's discipline. It's development of discipline in ourselves. And the last thing I said, it gets back to how deeply does one need to have a spiritual life? It really gets back to that. Because if your need is profound, it's very, you will learn how to focus. You will learn how to master the tools that you can use to do it. If the need is, well, I can do it today, tomorrow, in a week, 10 days, I don't have, forget it. You'll never master it. So it gets back, it's almost the same answer to every question. It gets back to each and every individual human being and how how they learn to use the tools that are available. Some people focus through ego. And of course, that usually drives everybody else crazy, including the person focusing through ego. Anger often gets people focused in a very strange way. Being right. But the need to have a spiritual life, that's a whole other ball of wax. Because that will teach you how to truly focus the mind, the breath. And the goal is, spiritual enlightenment. It's training. I say it all the time. One has to learn how to do it. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And it takes getting past, as I say all the time, the only person who keeps you from doing it. Yourself. Myself. That is what we have to get past. We have to learn to master ourselves. And that's a pretty tall task. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, there won't be class on Sunday. I'm having a retreat here this weekend. So the next class, this afternoon class will be on Tuesday. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll miss you at the retreat, those of you that are not coming. But there will be another one for my birthday in August. If you'd like to attend, you better sign up because it's getting full up. So thank you. God bless you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.